I mean,
maybe that's my bias.
We got it right.
Do you guys really think? I mean, come on. This is you guys really think that if Republicans took over, they do this? They're a bunch of wimps. They would never do this. They'll be fighting and arguing, and somebody would go up and say, I'm better than this. And
they would.
This is what now they won't.
Bill House,
John, they did the last two redistrictings. They gerrymandered in 2001 and 2011. And
for themselves, not for Congress, for themselves.
Gentlemen, everybody, the party that is in power does what's best for them. Full stop. The reason we passed this state constitutional amendment in 2020, 2021 was because both sides looking to the future said, we can't keep doing this. It's unsustainable.
Yeah.
We will not do that. And now the Democrats have come along and said, yeah, that's right, except for this is a temporary measure. What?
Well,
a temporary measure to undo the state constitution?
One guy last night in Hanover. One guy in Hanover last night is the only Democrat in the room, I think, the only person who would admit that they were a Democrat, used that argument, said this is temporary. In 2030, it all goes back. I don't buy that for a second. I don't think that you're going to, the Democrats, after the new census, I mean, it's an assumption they'll still be in charge. They've screwed up enough already that, my hope is we're going to expose them for the frauds that they are. But I don't think you're going to have new Congress people who are going to run against Rob Whitman, Jen Kiggins, if they even can run. And then suddenly in a couple of years, they're going to go, oh, okay, let's go back to the way it was. I don't buy that. I don't think that's going to happen.
It shouldn't even be a question. And now we're going to have 5 congressional districts from Fairfax County. One county is going to have 5 congressmen representing the rest of the Commonwealth. It's just disgusting. They shouldn't be doing this. They look. They know it's wrong, and their excuses.
They don't care, Chris. They don't care. What's best for them? That's what the Democrats are doing, and it's shameful. It is disgraceful. We decided as a Commonwealth in the Senate and the House that districts should look like this: compact, contiguous communities of interest. Not something that stretches like a rubber band from Northern Virginia down to Tazewell. That's not what people want. Compact, contiguous districts that are communities of interest. So, listen, I think I hold out great respect for the Virginia Supreme Court, and I think if it comes back to them, they're going to do the right thing. One final thing. Did you all see Bill Fralin's editorial op-ed piece? It may have been picked up across the Commonwealth, but he talked about the disgraceful gerrymandering that's going on with the Democrats. Yeah. He used to serve in the House with Chris and me. I was on the Democrat. He was a Republican. I sent him a letter. Great op-ed piece, Bill. You were spot on. I hope that clear-thinking people throughout the Commonwealth read this.
Let's get to a phone call. Mike in Chester, Virginia, line 2 for the Virginia gang. Go ahead, Mike.
Mike just dropped.
Why do you guys?
Well, that's no good. Maybe he'll call right back.
Mike, call back. If you called in to one of these other shows, you're on hold for 6 days, right? Scott in Henrico, line 1. Scott, go.
Good morning, John. John, I got good news for you. I am listening to you on 820 AM.
Yes.
AM radio. Okay. I'm going to make a statement here, and then I'm going to ask the panel a question. Chris, you nailed it last week. Turnout is going to be big on this. And the one thing is, if you live in western Hanover County, I'm not too sure if Ashland has an alliance with Hanover, but if you live in western Hanover County, you got to go almost 30 miles to go vote for this bill at Hanover Courthouse. Now, and John, I'm for you. John Reed, I want you to do a show on here. I like you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. And this is the question, John. I asked you this question already. What are the chances that Mark Warner's going to have a challenger in November? And I'm going to go ahead and hang up and listen. Hey, y'all do a good job. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Scott.
Mark Warner has, I think, several primary, at least one, if not 2 primary opponents, which is dangerous for him. and then he's definitely got to have a Republican nominee in the fall. So, yeah, I think Mark Warner's in pretty good shape to win re-election. Nothing's ever a done deal. But
Saxman, none of the Republican candidates are anywhere close to getting the 10,000 signatures. Nowhere close.
Well, they have until what, June, July?
No,
I don't think it's that late. I think it's April.
The primary, it's in April. The primary is in June. They have till April.
Not for the Senate.
I heard yesterday for U.S. Senate where you need 10,000 signatures, 2,000 like in each of the separate.
Right. By district.
It's very
the House stuff is what's thrown into disarray. Right?
The Republicans can also have a meeting of the state central committee, I believe, and choose their nominee.
If nobody gets on the ballot. Yeah,
they can still do that.
I talked to a couple of people last night because a few of these candidates had they weren't there, but a few of these candidates had representatives at the Hanover event, which is smart. And I've seen over the course of the last 2 months where I've gone to political events and not been a speaker, just kind of sat in the back of the room just so that I'm not going away and that I want to be supportive of other people, like people were supportive of my campaign. I've had a couple of them say, we forgot the petition sheets. And I was like, go down the street right now and make copies of the petition sheets and get them in this room. You can't afford to pass up an opportunity with 100 people in the room. To get to 10,000 to actually make the ballot is really hard. I underestimated it, and I would not have made the ballot last year if the folks in the Tea Party and a couple of really dedicated John Reed fans had not stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning for weeks all over the state to get those signatures, to count and throw out the Mickey Mouse and the ones that said Jimmy Carter, get rid of those and get above 10,000. It's a tough hurdle. It gets rid of people who aren't serious, but it's tough.
Well, I think the ballot access laws around the country are way too restrictive. And one of the problems we have in our two-party system and why it's so corrupt is because the people who write the rules don't want competition. And we've got to get better ballot access rules to get people to get on the ballot in every state, in my estimation.
Chris, even here in Washington, D.C., I'm running for Ward 2 D.C. GOP chairman, and I have to get 100 signatures of registered Republicans that live in Ward 2.
He has to find 100 Republicans in Washington, D.C.
that are then willing to sign my petition. And you can't knock on doors because there's no doors to knock on. I mean, there's no houses here, so it's all apartments or condos or things of that nature, especially in the second ward, Georgetown and DuPont Circle, etc. But you got to get on the phone. And what I do is I get on the phone.
Stand in front of the gay bar on Friday night and see.
Well, the best result that I've had is my log cabin Republicans bailed my ass out. Yeah, they bailed me out, baby. The Trump State of the Union speech, I got 10 signatures there. And now I got them all volunteering for me. But you got to get on the phone and I got to make calls. And then I get 1 out of 8 people answer. And then you got to make an appointment, 3 p.m. I'll see you at your home. You knock on the door, ring the bell. They come out and sign it. I mean, it is an arduous process. And D.C. makes it tough. But, what they say here is we don't want gadflies on the ballot, right? If you're going to run for Ward 2, you got to get out there and get, 100 valid people or you're not on the ballot, dude. I mean, it's simple as that. So they're telling me, because I whined about it, and they said that protects not serious candidates from junking up our ballot. That was their argument to me.
Well, there's a way to do it that gets rid of the gadflies and the ne'er-do-wells who are just trying to muddy up the system. 10,000 statewide. We had several presidential candidates, I think in 2016, not make the ballot, and they lived in Virginia. I think it was Rick Santorum and Newt Gingrich.
Because Gingrich handed him in. Gingrich handed him in, and they were, 30% of them were like fake. They hired some team, and because I was for Gingrich in that day. I wasn't involved in the Virginia effort, but like 40% of them, he handed in like 15,000. There were like 70, like half of them were like fake. So they did the challenge, and that they were tossed out.
There are a lot of phony operatives. And this was really eye-opening. I'm sorry I didn't win for lieutenant governor, but I can now speak firsthand about how many crooks are out there hustling for money. And you can give them money and they can do a great job of telling you, oh, I'm going to take care of this. And you look up 3 weeks later and you're like, all right, now where are we? And they don't return the phone call. They've disappeared. They've taken your money. I mean, there are a lot of crooks in this political game. And I don't know. I've been fortunate my whole life to deal with legitimate people. But when you're scrapping and when you find out, even if it wasn't your choice, that wow, the establishment is against me, I got to go a different direction to be successful. You begin to encounter a lot of the crooks out there. It's a mess, man. It's crazy.
Mike in Chester, line 1. Mike in Chester, Virginia, go.
Sorry, fellas. They gave a caveman a lightsaber when they gave me a damn smartphone. My question is this. Does anybody actually believe if the Democrats make this happen and get a supermajority, they're going to vote to undo it?
No. No. They're going to jam it down your throat.
I mean, it's never been a question in my mind. It's like, of course, why would they tell 5 congressmen, hey, we're going to put you all in one district now? That'll be fun. What the hell?
The thing is, the commercial does this. They stress it's temporary, but it's one of those things that once it's done, it's going to be hell on earth to try to undo.
Yeah.
Most things in government are so temporary, right?
You talked, John Reed, about the difficulty in getting on the ballot, about the number of signatures, and 10,000 is probably too much. You got to do something to show you have skin in the game. But even if the person is successful in that, the mother's milk of a campaign is money. You saw that, John. And my 8-year-old, God bless her, she does not. If she could get elected if she had Mark Warner's money. Okay, he's got $20 million in the bank right now.
Oh my Lord.
20 million.
Second richest senator in the United States Senate is our Senator Mark Warner.
So I don't know if he's even challenged by a Democrat, and if he is, they're not going to be able to raise the money. John Reed, you saw the problem with that. The other point that you made about grifters, John, made me think of the following. You're right, there are grifters in politics. Can I tell you, can I share with the gang who I think is the number one grifter in the United States Congress?
God, go ahead. This will be
Her initials are Ilhan Omar. She came to the United States House of Representatives with zero money. Community activist, you know what that is. Okay. No money, nothing. Do you know how much she has now? Personal wealth? Personal wealth. $30 million.
How does that happen?
$30 million. I don't know, John, I drowned you out. Say it again, John. How did that happen?
How does it happen?
Yeah.
I'm sure
I played my cards wrong.
I'm sure she hoards her pennies like the rest of them. And, she socks her money away and invests in some 401ks and some money market funds, like the old fashioned way of building wealth,
She was being interviewed and somebody said, well, what about this winery that you have controlling interest that you didn't announce or you didn't put on your economic interest? Oh, this winery. Where does she get all this money? Let me tell you how they get it, folks. They get in there, they throw barbs at the president. They're constantly raising money. And then question is, what do they do with that money? She comes in with nothing, and now has a net worth over $30 million. How does that happen?
People should be mad.
Capital G.
4 years.
People should be mad about it. And the bad thing for somebody like me who is involved in politics and has been a commentator on politics, because I really would like to make things better in my home state and live in peace and, maybe make some money for myself and just have a happy life, and I don't know if it's always been this way, but it's dominated by whoever is the angriest. And last year, I found out the hard way, directly to my face. The anti-Trump crowd was the angriest. They were motivated. There was no way that they were going to let Election Day get by without making a statement Not necessarily against Winsome or against me or your local delegate or Jason, but to make a statement against Donald Trump because they've been convinced that he is the personification of evil. I don't think that's true, but that's what they think. And I'm glad you're sharing that story, Joe Morrissey, because last night in Hanover, there were a lot of Republicans who just from their body language, they're mad that their representation in Congress, their voice, their ability to be communicative about what they think should happen in America is about to be stripped away from them in a very cynical way. And when it comes to this particular election on April 21st, I hate to say it, the Republicans may be madder, more angry than the Democrats, and that may carry the day. That's not the way our society should be. I don't like that, but something's got to motivate people to say enough of this. Let's get back to, everybody's going to fight. There's always fights, but some sort of civility here. I keep saying the gentleman's agreement because that's what I grew up with, but some sort of agreement where we're not going to behave like this. And
there's
doesn't seem to work.
What's the Newton's law of motion? Every action results
has an equal and opposite. Yeah.
Equal. My equal and opposite reaction is going to be voting in the Democratic primary if this thing goes through and endorsing a candidate or multiple candidates. I'm fine. If we're all Democrats now in Virginia, if 90% of us are supposed to be Democrats, and because these districts are locked up, they're well over 55% districts. That's just artful. That's just artful math drawing right there. I'm going to participate. If you say I'm going to be represented by a Democrat, guess what? I'm going to pick which Democrat represents me better. And I'm going to get involved in these campaigns and get involved in these elections. And I'm going to endorse. And I've talked to candidates and some of their political folks already. Look, I'm not going to sit around and not be represented. My responsibility as an American citizen is to involve myself in the electoral process. As a former teacher of history and government, I would tell my students, and they told me, we're going to get involved. We don't care what the election is. We're going to have a say in the matter. And that's incumbent upon all of us.
So the progressives are going to be challenged by soft D's like you if this goes through.
I'm not a Democrat.
Well, all right, but I'm saying
I'm a Virginia conservative. I've been since
yourself to somebody who would challenge the progressives see it as a winner take all. We're going to run this place.
Hey, I'm going to show up and have my say in the matter.
Yeah.
I mean, these districts are asinine. I love Rob Whitman. He's my current congressman, and if he's drawn out and my choices are the winners of the Democratic nomination, why wouldn't I participate? Yeah. It's an open primary.
Well, listen, somebody said something else in Hanover last night, and it echoes what I've been saying around the state. Rob Whitman, I mean, look, I know Rob Whitman personally. He works really hard. He spent an entire life trying to protect Virginia. I think he's a reasonable person, not a crazy person. Yeah. But from a practical standpoint, Virginians want to keep jobs in this state. Democrats want to keep jobs in this state. And he's number 2 on armed services in the House of Representatives, protecting our posts and our bases and the military men and women of the state. If he's gone, we got a problem, and you can't let that happen.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Thank you all.
You guys have a great weekend. John Reed, thank you. Chris Saxman, Joe Morrissey. Joe, thanks for the hunt and the 100. And we will see you guys next week. Michael Patrick Leahy next. Have a great weekend. Go Terps! Fear the turtle, baby. Let's go.